I'm Valerii, 63.
Sitting in my old office, which has been restored to its former state, I'm surrounded by the morning sun streaming through the windows and financial reports that show our company is not just surviving but thriving. It's been 6 months since the storm that nearly destroyed our family and business, and I'm finally starting to feel at peace. 6 months ago, I was fired from the company I'd helped build from the ground up. My daughter-in-law, Isabella, had become the CEO and decided that I was an outdated employee. In front of all 23 employees, some I'd hired and others I'd mentored for years, she delivered the news like a death sentence. I sat there, trying to process what was happening, feeling like my world was collapsing. I'd been with the company for 35 years. I started as a junior clerk when my son, Ethan, was just a little boy. I worked my way up to the position of senior manager, witnessing the company grow from a small family business into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. And in just 5 minutes, it was all over. As I packed my things, I couldn't help but think about Isabella. She'd entered our lives 4 years ago like a tornado. Ethan, who was 40 at the time, was immediately smitten with her. She was beautiful, with long black hair and an MBA from a top-tier business school. I tried to be welcoming, but there was always something about her that made me uneasy. When I got home, I received a text from a young colleague, Lily. She told me that Isabella had called an emergency meeting after I left, accusing me of embezzling funds and forcing everyone to sign NDAs. I was shocked and angry. I logged into the company's financial system, expecting my access to be revoked, but surprisingly, I was still in. What I found made my blood run cold. Over the past 6 months, there had been a series of unauthorized transfers from the company's main account to a subsidiary account I didn't recognize. The amount started small and gradually increased, with the latest transfer of $50,000 made that morning. And the authorization signatures included Isabella and what looked like Ethan's signature. Just then, Ethan burst through the door, furious. He'd heard conflicting stories from Isabella and the employees. I showed him the financial records, and his face turned white. He insisted that he'd never authorized these transfers. We realized that Isabella was either involving Ethan in her scheme or forging his signature. Ethan decided he needed proof before confronting Isabella. It turned out that he'd hired a private investigator 6 months ago because he'd started having doubts about her. The investigator found that Isabella's real name was not Isabella but Ingrid, and she'd been fired from her previous job for embezzlement. She'd also had 2 previous marriages to wealthy men, both ending in divorces, where she got substantial settlements. The worst part was that she'd faked a pregnancy and miscarriage early in their relationship to manipulate Ethan into proposing. The investigator found medical records showing she'd been on birth control the whole time. We went to the office early one morning to gather more evidence. In Isabella's desk, we found a folder of emails between her and her real boyfriend, Ryan. They were discussing how to frame Ethan for the embezzlement. Isabella had been using Ethan's login credentials to make the transfers and had carefully chosen times when he was in the building but not at his computer. When Isabella arrived at the office, we confronted her. At first, she tried to lie and deny everything, but as we presented more evidence, her composure cracked. She lashed out at us, calling me a jealous old woman and Ethan weak. She refused to return the stolen money and threatened to destroy the company if we pressed charges. But we were determined. We called the police, and Isabella was arrested for fraud, embezzlement, and identity theft. The following weeks were a whirlwind of police reports, insurance claims, and damage control. Isabella filed a counter-lawsuit, but it fell apart when the FBI got involved. Now, the Henderson Group contract has come through, which will put us firmly in the black for the year. Ethan has also started seeing someone new, a kindergarten teacher named Sophie. He wants me to meet her, and I'm looking forward to it. I've told him to promise me that he'll never let anyone come between our family again. Just this afternoon, an FBI agent, Agent Mia, came to my office. She told me that thanks to our cooperation, they'd connected Isabella to crimes in 6 other states, and the total amount of money she stole was close to $2 million. Isabella is facing 20 to 30 years in federal prison and won't be eligible for parole for at least 15 years. As the sun sets outside my window, I think about the journey we've been through. We've faced betrayal, but we've also found the strength to rebuild. I'm grateful for the lessons learned and the newfound trust between Ethan and me. The road ahead is full of possibilities, and I'm ready to embrace them with an open heart. Now, I'm curious about you who listened to my story. What would you do if you were in my place? Have you ever been through something similar? Comment below. And meanwhile, I'm leaving on the final screen two other stories that are channel favorites, and they will definitely surprise you. Thank you for watching until here.